everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Really though, today I am coming back at you with a video about basically sharing my thoughts on race bending and race bending pretty much in Hollywood. Um, so if y'all didn't hear the news, the actor, I want to say she's from the group. She has her sister sing together. They're called Chloe and Halle, and I want to say her name is I want to say their last name is Bailey, but anyway, she goes by Halle from um, Chloe and Halle. I know they have a single out. They may possibly have an album out, but I know they're on Grownish. A few times I get to tune into the show, I've seen her and sister on there, and they're super cute girls. I know they've been around the scene for a while. Once they probably got started right here on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken, and they've kind of reached mainstream success. Well, the news just broke today that she was cast as Ariel in the new Disney live action Little Mermaid movie. So, feel how you want to feel about the live action movies. I have my own thoughts on them as well. But I know there's been a lot of talk of this Little Mermaid live action for a while. And I know that like Leah Michelle and Lindsay Lohan was campaigning for the role, which I'm really happy that they were considering a younger actress for sure. I think that Era herself, I think in the movie was like, what was she like, 15 or 16 or whatever. So I know she was young. She was under 18. So I mean, casting someone that's in their 30s or late 20s was just not gonna. That just wasn't gonna happen, whether your hair is red or not, whether you have a beautiful voice and can sing or not. Disney wasn't gonna do that. Um, so uh, I when I saw the news, I thought it was great. And then that thought came over me of like, oh, well, here we go, with the arguments on race bending. Now, for me, I don't mind it at times, um, because I think a lot of fairy tales, cartoons, comics, yeah, I mean they were probably written by a certain person of a certain race, but anyone from any walk of life or from any racial background can experience those same issues. I mean, what makes Ariel's issues any different than, a darker skin or, you know, someone with a different color hair, different color eyes? What would have made presented with the same um, issue of not feeling like you belong in that world or wanting to be part of another world? What makes her skin color, hair color, you know, how does that make her any different from anyone else who would experience those same issues? It really doesn't. Um, and plus, when it comes down to it, like Era's a mermaid, like she's a mythical creature. So yeah, I mean, in the original movie, possibly in the original novel, she may have been presented as a certain race or a certain, have certain characteristics or phenotypes of a more European look. But also would say that I think that's just the way that Disney reimagined her when when they went to work on illustrating the movie back in I want to say 88, because I think the movie came out in 89. So anyway, you know, I think it's great. I do. I think that to me, I'm all about who's the best man for the job, or the best woman for the job. And to me, sometimes, you know, it really just comes down to, I mean, not really sometimes, but at the end of the day, it comes down to talent. It comes down to who can deliver. And it's much less about race as it is about what you bring to the table. Obviously, Disney saw something in her. They already had a direction they wanted to go. I'm sure that they, um, had auditions for girls of every background. I'm certain of it. The one thing I've seen Disney do in recent years is they have really gone toward a more diverse, adding more diversity. I mean, growing up being a little black girl in America, those are all the princesses that I saw, or main characters of animated or even films. And, as a black woman or a black little girl, you just kind of, that, I mean, in America at least, since it's a melting pot and growing up in the South, you just that's just how it is. You don't know what it feels like to watch TV or watch a movie oftentimes, and just that be the norm. Like, oh, there's we don't grow up with that luxury of it being that way. Like, much less if you're in a country like you know where, like, I mean, Africa's a continent, so depending on where you're from in Africa, there are several countries within it. But within those countries, they have culture, and each country, I mean, within the countries, there's just like here, there's states, there's cities, there's towns, but there's still culture. Growing up in India, there's culture. Growing up in Asia, in China, Japan, wherever, there's set culture. Here in America, all we have is just American culture. There's very little of like black culture, and what is black culture today was not the same black culture that it was when I was a little girl growing up in the 90s. So times have definitely changed from that perspective. And again, like, all I knew growing up were white princesses. So that was just the norm. It wasn't normal to see a black Disney princess or even a black kid. If there was a black kid on a TV show, mainly a cartoon or a movie, it was mostly just like the sidekick. It wasn't until it was a little bit later where you started seeing where there were, um, on a mainstream show, that is, it wasn't just geared to like black kids. You didn't see there being like a show that was mainstream that had a black kid as the main character, and then supporting characters were of other ethnicities. And you do see that today, which is really nice. And I wish that had we'd had more of that back when I was a kid. But to me, getting back to the race bending, you know, I remember when they were casting, or when the news broke out, they had cast Tilda Swinton and Doctor Strange as the Ancient One, and they said that the character was traditionally, or had was historically traditionally written in the comics as an Asian man, and you know it's a comic. And at the end of the day, I go, well, wow, they went the completely opposite direction. Not only is this person supposed to be Asian, they're supposed to be a man. They went with a white European woman. Tilda Swinton is from the UK, from what I understand, and she's a woman. And that's nothing new. They've been doing that for years. They've even taken characters that were traditionally black, made them white, made them other races, and then so there's been race bending is nothing new. Typically, it just works the other way in reverse. And that's where you even get into where back in the day you had actors and actresses that were actually in blackface, or whatever other faces outside of what their race was, to do movies, because they didn't want to cast black people, or they didn't want to cast Latino people, or they didn't want to cast Asian people. Um, and so for many years, a lot of minorities did not get those roles. And so now, the argument, and even, of course, with it being, we're not talking about gender here, we're talking about just race. So, you know, the thing about The Little Mermaid is that it is set in like the Caribbean. I mean, we all know, if you watch the Little Mermaid, the original movie, you know good and well that Sebastian is most likely black. You get the notion that it's set in like the Caribbean, or somewhere where there are traditionally calypso drums and people who sound like Sebastian. Um, I think it'd just be very strange to, you know, have it be set off the coast of Maine and there's a lobster, and then all of a sudden you have this what sounds like a Caribbean sounding, you know, accent coming out of a lobster. That just doesn't make sense. So, you know, um, how do you reconcile that? You know, what I think they'll do is I think they'll make the movie completely diverse. Um, because people of color come in many different shades and tones, as well as people who aren't. of color. I mean, we all come in different colors, but I'm speaking specifically to about people of color, and that's coming in a wide variety of shades and tones. I wouldn't be surprised if they make the dad a certain different ethnicity than what they have, cast in the role of Halle as in the role of Ariel. I wouldn't be surprised if they. I know that the news had broke recently that they were possibly in talks to cast Melissa McCarthy as Ursula, and people had previously thought they would either cast a black woman in that role or they would cast a drag queen in that role. And, yes, Ursula personifies what I think people would stereotypically think of a, you know, voluptuous or, heavier set black woman. But, I mean, these are all made up characters at the end of the day, y'all. And the funny thing is about Ursula, she was not voiced by a black woman at all. She was voiced by a white woman. And the singing, I believe, whatever, which doesn't really sing anyway, but I think that people in the back in the day assumed that she was voiced or maybe something like that, like Della Reese or whatever. I want to say I heard that. I could be wrong, but no, she was voiced by a white woman. And who's to say what race the character should be? I mean, who, like, at the end of the day, like, who really cares? Like, that's how I feel about the whole thing. Like, who really cares? I mean, unless we're talking about a real person, and that's where I take issue with like race bending, where we're getting into, someone's like actual life story that we're doing like an autobiography on. Um, you know, that would be extremely disrespectful to start race bending people in that sense. I feel like let's try to get as close to who the original person was as possible, down to casting someone from the area that they were raised in, or whether that be a certain country, city, whatever. Just having it be as accurate as possible. But when it comes down to make believe mythical characters, like at the end of the day, it's whatever the producers, and I mean like the producer, I mean, whatever the person crediting the work is, whatever they're imagining it to be. And who's to say we can debate them on that? Like, if you're not happy with it, then maybe you need to go and create your own movie or TV show or music video or whatever it is that you think, what this person should look like. And the thing that really gets me, like, especially with the comics, is that, these are completely made up people. And I literally, I saw, like, I watch a lot of videos on, like Marvel and comics and stuff. And they were talking about, I want to say it's like the role of Taskmaster or somebody, because that was that speculation for the new Black Widow movie. And I mean, yeah, maybe the character has been traditionally, um, written or illustrated as white or not a person of color, but like it's a made up person. Like same thing when there was like the whole Hunger Games thing, and the one role they end up casting um, the a person of color in. And it's like y'all, this is a made up thing. Like this is made up. Same thing with like the whole Captain America thing. Um, I haven't heard anything too negative about it, but I had heard a while back. I think before people really, you know, they kind of had it pushed on them that hey, like Sam's gonna be the new Captain America. Um, People were like, oh, like I wanted Bucky to be it or whatever, whatever. And it's like, y'all, like these are made up people. These are made up things. Like as bad as we want Captain America, as bad as we want Chris Evans to be Captain America, for real, he's not. He is Chris Evans. He is an actor, and this is his job. Like, and one day, like someone else will be that role in a movie, just like Sam. Just like just like with Sam Wilson, Falcon taking the role. Um, whatever direction they go. And to me, it's the same thing with like, age bending. Like in the cartoons that I actually watch on like Disney XD of the Avengers, Sam is like a young dude. Like Falcon's actually a pretty. He's not a teenager. I won't say he's like maybe right out of college, but he's really young. Like Anthony Mackie's like 40 years old. Like he's actually older than Chris Evans. So how they're gonna work that all out as far as him aging out of the role. Same thing with Chris Evans. Like, but again, these are made up people. They can make them any age they want to make them. They can make them any. They can do anything with them. I mean, hell, they resurrect people back from the dead, in movies. So to me, we can't take things. The point I'm making by saying all this is that we can't take things too seriously when it comes down to things being made up. Because if it's made up, make believe, just take it for what it is. If you don't like it, you can't rock with it, you can't relate to it, that's fine, you know. But it's no reason to make like derogatory comments or mean comments toward a particular race. Because again, like, don't attack black people because the Ariel you want to see, that's not what Disney cast. Maybe you will need to create your own movie where you cast an Ariel that you can relate to. You know, like for me, I can't relate to Ariel any more than what anybody else can. Number one, I'm not that young. I don't have, I can't sing, so whatever. I mean, this is not a story about a black mermaid. This is not a story about a black girl being a mermaid. This is not a story about, you know, being black in the sea. This is a story about the Little Mermaid, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna stay as true to the character, as true to the story as the animated movie did, which is based off of a written book as well. So this isn't a race issue. Doesn't matter what color she is. Doesn't matter what color they make anybody. As long as they're talented and they can deliver, I'm all for it. Unless it's a real and when it comes to real people, that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, guys, those are just my thoughts on race bending and just my thoughts on it and how I feel about um, the current state of it in Hollywood and in movies. So if you would like, I would love for you to share your thoughts down in the comments. Please get them positive, but I am very open minded. So if you have a difference of opinion, absolutely share it. Just keep it respectful, please. And yeah, guys, but please consider subscribing if you like my videos. I have some more reviews and reactions that are going up pretty much as we speak. And you can follow me over on Instagram at really though, that's with two E's. And hit the like button if you like this video as well. If you'd like me to do more videos like this, I'm not too much into being like super controversial outside of just giving my honest opinion about things. So, I'm not gonna discuss politics. I'll tell you that right now. But I'm not gonna get too heavy into a lot of like race or even women's issues and things like that. So there are plenty of channels out there for all that stuff, but I keep it all about entertainment here for the most part, unless these things have something especially to do with entertainment. All right. So that's all I got for y'all today. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to y'all next time. Have a wonderful day.